Hi, my name is Leia. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reading books. This is a part of a video series that's dedicated to me reading all of the books on my physical TBR. I'm not allowed to buy any new books until I finish all the books that are on my shelf. This shelf specifically. Normally, I use a spinner to randomly select the book that I'm going to read. However, in this instance, I am going to be picking the book that I'm reading. And that book is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. My book club chose to read this book for February. And it is now currently January 29th. So I really have to finish this book. The only thing I know about this is that it's a love story. I think it's a second chance romance between two authors. And I know that there's a child in the book. I'm not historically a huge fan of people having children in books and also in real life. So I'm not really sure how I'm gonna feel about the child, but I'm really trying to keep an open mind. I also feel like this book generally gets pretty good reviews, so I'm really excited to start it. I'm gonna read this now, and then I'm gonna give you an update once I feel like it. Okay, bye.
Brick.
No.
Does anyone need sheep? Anyone? Anyone at the table?
No.
God damn it.
Okay, hi. I finished 7 Days in June. I wanted to give an update like halfway through the book, but I had to binge read it yesterday after work because I waited to the last minute to start it before my book club. But in general, the book is about Eva, who is a Black author that lives in New York, and she wrote a 14-book romantasy series called Cursed. She wrote the first book when she was 19 as a way to kind of cope with things that was going on in her life at the time. But now that it's many years later, she feels stuck by the book series, but she feels like she can't take the risk to move on to something else because Cursed provides financial stability for her and her daughter. She has a 13-year-old daughter named Audrey that she co-parents with her ex-husband who lives in California. Audrey is like wise above her years, and her dream is to be a therapist to the extent where she has been reading like psychology books at a very young age. And she also gets in trouble for charging her classmates for these like underground therapy sessions. I think Audrey is supposed to be a little ridiculous, and I think it's supposed to add like humor and entertainment to the story, but I personally didn't like the way her character was written. I think it's a personal thing where I don't like it when children in books are written to be like overly mature to the point where it's like unrealistic to me. I don't think I would mind it if the rest of the book was a little like fantastical and whimsical, but it's not. The rest of the book feels very realistic and has a more serious tone. I just think Audrey being this like child genius takes me out of the story a little bit. To me, it's kind of giving when like moms on Facebook will post about their toddler and she'll be like, yeah, I was hanging out with my toddler the other day and she said, and then they like insert this like very profound quote that their toddler most definitely did not say because their brain is the size of like a baseball. Anyway, that was my biggest critique of the book. The male main character is named Shane. He is also an author and he has written 4 modern classics, I believe. He's very well known and very well liked amongst the literary community. However, he is a recovering alcoholic and he has only written books when he was drunk. So he very much struggles with being able to write a book now that he's sober. Shane and Eva initially met when they were in high school. They fell in love with each other and spent 7 days together, essentially trauma bonding, I feel like. And all we know is after that 7th day, Shane kind of just disappears and Eva doesn't really know why, and they haven't haven't spoken to each other since. The book was also a lot darker than I was anticipating it to be. Eva and Shane both have a troubled past and their own traumas that they've had to work through at a very young age, which has caused them to self-medicate and cope in unhealthy ways. And as adults, we're seeing a much more stable and healthy version of themselves, but they obviously like still struggle with what they've gone through in their childhood. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I feel like Eva and Shane were both written in a way where they felt equally likable to me. Something I really liked about this comparatively to other romances was that they communicated with each other so well. There are aspects of miscommunication in the book, but it wasn't in a way that was frustrating to me because they were just completely honest with each other the entire time. I think it just like really made me root for them as a couple. I really, really liked that. I thought it was refreshing compared to other romance books that I've read. I ended up rating this 4 stars. I would highly recommend it. I completely understand why this is as popular as it is online. Now that I've read 7 Days in June, I am going to randomly select the next book I'm gonna read with my spinner. I have it right here, look at her. This spinner is going to choose the next book that I'm gonna read on my physical shelf. She's really old. Okay, we have My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. Okay. I'm really excited about this book. I don't really know what it's about. I just know that it is more character driven, and I think it's maybe about 2 friends or 2 sisters. I'm gonna go get the book before I keep yapping about it. Here she is. As I was saying, I don't know much about this book, but I kind of want to go into it knowing as little information as possible because I just think it's more fun that way. This is a 4-book series, and I've also heard that this doesn't really have an ending. Like the 4 books is just a steady continuation onto the last book. I think it's like good to know that going into it. I am really excited. I've been wanting to read this for a while, and I'm also kind of in the mood for a lit fic, so this was kind of like the perfect pick. So anyway, I'm gonna start this and then I will check in with an update, hopefully before I actually finish the book. Okay, hi. I know to you only a few seconds have gone by, but in reality, it has been a very, very, very long time since I started reading this book. It's been a really busy March and a very unmotivated April, but I'm here now to tell you that I finished My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I'm just gonna start from the top. This book is following Elena Greco, who is a young girl growing up outside of Naples, Italy in the 1950s. And the entire book is centered around her relationship with her best friend Leela. It is a very character-driven story. The overall plot is pretty slow-moving. And really we're getting Elena's inner monologue as she goes through her childhood. I loved the book. I thought it was very well written. I thought that it was really interesting to be in Elena's head and understand her motivations and desires. And I really loved the relationship that she had with Leela. And not even because they have this like pure and wholesome friendship. I just really loved it because it's just so honest and so self-aware that it's just like really satisfying to read about. And the reason it's so self-aware is because the narration is actually Elena much later in life looking back on her childhood and telling us her perspective of what's going on between her and Leela. It was just like really interesting to me to be able to read a character that's so like blatantly and unabashedly honest. I don't know, I loved it. I really, really loved it. There's just something about it that was so endearing to me, how flawed she is, how unlikable she can be, but at the end of the day, like, I understand her and I understand her motivations, so I can't help but root for her. The end of the book to me just felt like a punch to the gut. It's so good. Anyway, my plan is to finish the quartet because I'm just really enjoying my time with these characters. I ended up rating this a 4.5 stars. I think my only qualms was that because it was so slow moving, I felt like there were parts of the plot where it got a little boring to me, and I kind of just felt like, okay, where are we going with this? But overall, I really, really loved it and enjoyed it. But yeah, that's the vlog. A lot of time has passed, but at least I read 2 more books off of my shelf, which is a win to me. So anyway, thank you for watching. I am going to continue on with the series, hopefully more consistently in the future. So if you are interested in watching me read all the books on my shelf, please follow along, subscribe to my channel. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.